Hi, I'm Dr. Leslie Hardman. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Classroom Adaptation Project. That's the culminating project for early childhood sensory-motor development. You're going to be applying the medical, environmental, and health information you've learned in this course to adapt a classroom. You'll be using the childhood condition that you've been assigned and working with through your annotated bibliography and conditions resource paper assignments already completed. Within this, you're going to be addressing physical, motor, adaptive, self-help, cognition, communication, and social-emotional developmental domains in the aspects of the classroom design and in your final video or audio reports. You'll be working in small groups using a 3D and 2D environments in a program called Sweet Home 3D. You'll be given a budget of about $2,500 to spend as you adapt your classroom and interact with your peers. You'll find detailed instructions of this assignment as well as rubrics in the course module. You'll also be completing a tutorial for the Sweet Home 3D, so don't worry about that. You'll learn how to use that program very quickly. So let's get started. I'm going to show you a three-dimensional room in augmented reality, which will be similar to your 3D view in Sweet Home 3D. So this is a really interesting way to show you how you will think through the process of making changes. You're going to be using the children that you've been studying with the condition you're assigned. So I'm going to give you some examples of children we're going to adapt this particular reading pretend play area. This is actually a corner of a room that we took pictures of. It's a kindergarten room and it's been rendered in this 3D type of view. So the first child is Jack. He's 4 years old with spina bifida. He's in a wheelchair. He's independently mobile in his wheelchair and has cognitive delays. The second child is Kim. She's a young 5-year-old with cerebral palsy, and she uses a walker to mobilize through the classroom. She falls often and she startles easily with loud sounds and with crowds. Bill is a 4-year-old who's visually impaired, and he cries often when he's pushed or shoved in a crowded environment. And then we have Susie, who is on the autism spectrum, and she has difficulty becoming overreactive with stimuli in the room, and sometimes will escape by hiding under furniture. So those are 4 very different children that we need to make this classroom area more child-friendly. So let's get started on that process. So first of all, if I'm looking at this classroom, I need to know what I can and cannot move, and I don't have a very big budget. We only have $2,500. So the cabinets you see in the corner and the lamp, as well as the kitchen play area, those are toys, not real appliances, are fixed. We can't move those. So I want to think about first accessibility for those children that are independently mobile with equipment. So I have Jack in this wheelchair, and if I move this around and let you see this, he's not going to be able to navigate to play in the kitchen area. There's too much stuff here, and he doesn't really need a chair. So I think what we'll do first is move some of those chairs out of the way. So let's get those out of the way. We don't have to have them. And I'm going to move that table. I might want that later on for the pretend play area. Okay. Jack may want to transfer to another chair or to the floor, so I've opened up that area you can see for play. Okay, now we're going to introduce Kim and her walker. So that's going to be problematic. The corner of the room here where I'm moving the walker represents the midpoint of the room. So there's other sections of the room, so we want to think about her being able to get into this section of the room. So this little bookcase, let's move that out of the way for now. We're not really sure what that's for. So mobility is going to be our most important aspect. So this allows this walker to move within this space. Now, I can't let this child pass Jack unless we move that little cabinet. So say this little girl wants to go over to our reading center. Our books are in the cabinet now. I'm going to move this cabinet out of the way. So we've opened up this area completely for our children with mobility devices. Now, just so that you understand, when you're working on your project, you will not use your budget for mobility devices because those are prescriptive items from a physical therapist and a physician. So your budget is just simply for purchasing items for play, and development with their peers in the classroom. Okay. So now we have this easel. I'll rotate that around. That might be fun if they want to do a little pretend play. Let me turn that around. Maybe we want to pretend to have a restaurant, and we're going to position that easel so they can ride on it but still get around it. So let's introduce our child with autism who may need a little place to, may need a place to still participate but hide a little bit. So I'm going to rotate around so you can see it from a different vantage point. So this is a barrel. It's a little difficult to see the detail in that. But the child could get inside the barrel and still participate within the group for reading or in the kitchen play area. That would be a perfectly acceptable way for the child to participate, have a little bit of movement, introduce some games with turn taking in and out of the barrel. This little swing, I know it looks odd, but it's going to represent a swing that we could hang from a hook in the ceiling, and that could be part of your budget as well, and decide where in the room you would hang that. And this would give the child a place to be, to move, but not be in danger, to push and shove others, and also experience some vestibular input, which might help that child self-regulate in the classroom. And then finally, let's think about Bill, who's visually impaired. What do we need to do to help this child navigate in the classroom? We may want to have a table next to this whiteboard, which would be kind of an anchor to the center of the play area and kind of a home base for that visually impaired child, and also a place to put materials so the child could move from the kitchen area to the table. And then if you needed to eliminate furniture or reintroduce items within your Sweet Home 3D work environment, you'll have additional items you can place in the room to represent toys and games, lighting, paint colors, rugs, etc. that will be a base in your room. If I had a representation of a rug or a mat, I would put that under the swing as a safety cue. There would also be a cue to the visually impaired child. When the surface of the floor changed, they would know not to be on that because someone's in a swing.